What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode. What are we on now? Episode 4? Yeah, episode 4 of the Mets Matters talk show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. And we have a little bit of a different setup today because the desktop was it's just not cooperating with us, guys. As we stated for episode 1, we have some technical difficulties sometimes, so we're on the laptop today. I didn't like the FaceTime camera on the Mac, so we're using the camera up there on the desktop, which is fine. So we're just going to roll with it, and we're going to see what happens today. We were going to have a guest on today, but because of conflicting schedules, we're going to be riding solo today. There might still be time to get the guest on. Today's Tuesday, so we're a little late recording on my part because I do have work tomorrow. So we're going to do a little quick segment here and see if maybe the guest can join us later on. But yeah, shout out to everybody who watched episode 3. That was a little bit of a later episode talking about college and the job market and stuff like that. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. In this episode, we're just going to, I don't know what I'm really going to talk about today. Well, I have an idea, but so we're just going to get right into it. It's very, I don't know where you guys live, but where I live, we got some snow, man. There's some freaking snow out there, and it's crazy. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of the snow, because the snow is just, oh my gosh, it's like I was shoveling yesterday, and I felt like my whole body is just numb, absolutely numb and tired, and it's like since shoveling is a full body workout for real, and so I had to go shovel someone's driveway today, and it snowed like, I don't know, it's a good probably like 4 feet out there. Not 4 feet, but a few feet. And so I had to go shovel someone's driveway today. And I pull up to their house, and I'm like, where's their driveway? You can even tell the difference between the driveway and, the freaking yard or whatever. So here, let's just show you guys this picture quick. I just gotta adjust it a little bit so it can fit. Yeah, so this is literally the snow. You can see right here, this is how much we did. This ain't even the full picture, but I mean, it was a lot. Like, all this in the back was it was insane. It was insane. So that was a full workout on top of me shoveling yesterday on Monday. There was a lot of snow to be shoveled on Monday. Big snowstorm. And all these people in here, because I grew up in Minnesota, and these people over here, they were like, man, this is crazy. And they canceled school today for some reason. And it snowed like another 5 inches maybe last night, which is not even a lot. So they're like, we're going to cancel school today. But I remember when I was growing up, and the wind chill was like negative 20. And we had to wait outside the school to go in. Because I grew up in Minnesota, and they don't play about the snow. They're just like, man, you guys can go out there, and you'll be fine. And if it wasn't below 0 degrees outside, we had to go outside for recess. Like, we couldn't stay inside, in the lunchroom. If you sat inside the lunchroom, the lunch ladies would just be like, you're not even eating food, you're just sitting there, and they're like, you guys can't be in here. You can't be in the cafeteria if you're not eating. And I was like, you want me to go outside and potentially get hypothermia because you don't want me to go outside when it's 10 degrees? Even if it was 1 degree, they're like, nope, sorry, not below 0. You guys gotta stay inside. So they're like, you gotta go outside, and you guys are gonna have fun. I was like, you can't have fun if it's freaking... And they didn't even let us, so like the parking lot, they would pile up these big mounds of snow, and they didn't even let us build snow tunnels, because it's not funny, but I guess one year they were building a snow tunnel, and a freaking kid, they were digging a tunnel in like the big mountain of snow, and then I guess the tunnel collapsed, and the kid got stuck in there, and they had to dig him out. Oh, that's not funny, but he was okay, obviously. But I don't even know if that was true, because they told us some wild stories in middle school, like when the kids would stick their heads out the bus window, and they're like, guys, don't stick your head out the window, because one time little Timmy stuck his head out the window, and his whole head just went, chopped off. I was like, there's no way. So the bus window was open, and he was going to the sign, and they just hit the sign, and boom, he's gone. But I don't think that actually happened, because then they probably wouldn't let you open the windows all the way on the buses. But those were the days, guys. Those were the days. But anyways, enough about that. It's time to get serious. So, I don't know if you guys have been following the news. Obviously, the nurses' strike is still going on. day 16. So if you haven't watched my video about that, I would watch that. It's very informative. We had a guest, or that was our first guest, Christine Scheinman. She gave us some insights on the nurses' strike, and they're still striking, and the snowstorm. A lot of other news has kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of put that to the backstage just with everything else going on. Because obviously the snowstorm was like big news, and the Minneapolis ice incidents was kind of also taking over the nurses' strike. So I mean, it's not their fault that there's just so much other stuff going on in the world, but it kind of sucks for them because they are just not getting the attention that they deserve. I mean, it's a serious issue too. Like, the longer the strike goes on, it's like harms them because then the management's like, well, we don't need you because we got these travel nurses here who are helping us out. But another thing that happened recently that people have not been talking about is that TikTok, which used to be a Chinese-owned company, was sold to the U.S. And already people are starting to notice like changes in their TikTok. So like I have 2 TikTok pages. I have like my main TikTok page where I just post like random videos about like whatever, like trends and stuff like that. But then I have another TikTok where I'll post like content from here. I'll do like when I used to do short films, I'll post them on there. Or if I had like, if I do photography sometimes, so I'll post photography pictures on there. But yesterday, people were posting a bunch of videos, and like usually I get like, I don't know, on that page I usually get like, depends on, the content that I'm making. But if it's like, I usually get like 150 views, like average, I would say. But yesterday I posted a video that I took of like the snowstorm of like some birds outside in the snow, and I was like uploaded it, and it was like 0 views because I'll like go to my main page and I'll repost it so it gets like more put out there more. So I go on my main page and I search up my other account, and I'm like trying to repost the video, but it's not even showing up on my, like, it's not even showing up on my account that I posted the video when I clearly posted it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna delete it and like post it again. So I did that, and it still like wasn't showing up at all. I was like, what the heck? So then I was watching a video today about it, and apparently they said there's a power outage. That's why people's videos were not posting. But the person who I was watching was saying stuff like, oh, well, that's what they do sometimes when they're trying to correct the algorithm, because the company who owns it's obviously US now, and we're gonna get into that in just a moment. So yeah, it was sold to a US company. This has been like, remember when TikTok got banned and like you tried to open it and it didn't let you open it, and then you went back a few hours later and you could open it, but then if you deleted it, you wouldn't be able to re-download it again. So, and then there's the whole thing of like the owner who was going through that horrible press conference, which is just so cringy to watch. And I was like, they're just asking this guy like the stupidest questions. Like, if you haven't watched it, look it up. It's just like very cringy, very, very cringy. All right, so live update. So our guest not this episode, but the next episode. So we got the schedule figured out. She is gonna be talking about being on Community Ice Watch and the situation in Minneapolis. So that'll be next week. So just make sure you tune in for that next week. So this week we'll just focus on the TikTok stuff, because TikTok is a very, very popular social media page, and that's actually how I met my current girlfriend on TikTok, which is just, that's a story for another day. So yeah, I've met like, I guess you can call them like TikTok friends, like just seeing different people who come across your algorithm. But yesterday they totally redid the algorithm, and now everyone's videos are getting messed up. Like, I mean, we're not gonna get too political in it, but like the Democrat TikTok page, which I don't watch their videos because they all suck. So they said that because the people who bought TikTok is like a Trump-owned group, and don't worry guys, we have information to share with you guys today. So yeah, so the deal to secure TikTok's future in the U.S. has finally closed, blah blah blah. So yeah, it's a joint venture acquiring TikTok's U.S. assets has been formally established and has announced its leadership team, according to the company, one day after the deadline set by President Donald Trump for the app's U.S. assist to be spun off by its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. The transition clause concludes a years-long effort to secure TikTok's long-term future in the United States and addresses concerns that it posted national security risk. So, in my opinion, guys, I'd rather have the Chinese people have my information. Like, I mean, I don't really think they're really stealing that much important information. Like, I'd rather have them have some random information than freaking U.S. government, because that's just concerning. So I saw so a lot of people actually have been deleting TikTok because they're like, I don't want to deal with this because of like the new user agreement that is apparently, a New Year's agreement that's like supposed to give away your like immigration status, and, like stuff like that. So we're just gonna pull up this article because we're just kind of going over some stuff. So I haven't seen a different post on Instagram talking about the new user agreement, which I'll show you guys. I'm still trying to, where's that? It's a new setup we're trying to get used to. So I haven't seen all these things on Instagram about like the new user agreement. So we're just gonna go over some of that, and it's a little sus. So here's everything you should know about the new TikTok's dual ownership. So last week, obviously, it's under new ownership, investment, blah blah blah, including Larry Ellison, cloud giant, Oracle, the solution to its long-threatened U.S. ban. This has already led to a rollout of new terms of services of U.S. users, which include nothing collection of precise location data and details of users' AI interactions. The new owners also take control of U.S. content moderation, which has sparked some to fear censorship even before the weekend's issues say they will retain the app's algorithm based on U.S. data. TikTok has suffered from extensive problems on its first weekend after completing a transaction that changed the ownership of its U.S. arm. According to Down Detector, the issues initially spiked in the early hours of Sunday morning, but many users, including editors here at The Verge, are still reporting errors. So, given the timing, many drew a link between TikTok's issues and its U.S. operation. New Trump-friendly owners and the weekend's anti-ICE protests in Minneapolis, exacerbated by the killing of a second local resident, Alex Preddy, by federal agents. The combination of publishing errors and previously political For You pages that are suddenly filled with generic content has led to many assume the worst when their videos about ICE wouldn't publish. But as the moment, the problems appear to be much more extensive. So yeah, here's a video.
Yesterday, January 22nd. I read through the full policy so you didn't have to, but I also compared them to the last version. And we're going to jump straight in. Firstly, in the privacy policy under information you provide, TikTok has included sensitive information such as citizenship and immigration status. I need to be very clear when I say this, TikTok collects more than one type of information. There's information you willingly provide, information that is automatically collected, and information they get from third party or other sources. And I know a lot of people who got to this portion of the new privacy policy are panicking. However, I don't like fear-mongering for views, so while TikTok will track you to an extent, here are some things you can actually do about it. For in-app settings, go to Settings and Privacy, Security and Permissions, then to Privacy. You can turn off activity status, as well as suggesting your account.
There we get the idea. So TikTok changed its location tracking in one of the most notable updates in the new privacy policy. Before this update, the app did not collect the precise GPS device location of U.S. users. Now, if you give TikTok permission to use your phone's location services, then the app may collect granular information about your exact whereabouts. Similar kinds of precise location data is also tracked by other social media apps like Instagram and X. So obviously it tracks AI interactions and network.
The TikTok terms of service updated because of...
Alright. So this is causing a lot of people to delete TikTok because they're like, well, now you're just controlling my whole algorithm and you're taking away the freedom of the For You page and like what I control to see. Like some political people who are political people who obviously have like different viewpoints than the group of owners who purchase TikTok. They've noticed that their accounts have been going down, like their viewership has been going down, and this is how many people have actually deleted TikTok since its new purchase. So TikTok deletions spike 150% after U.S. joint venture news, which that's just crazy. So the restrictions meant to address national security concern and avoid potential bans, shifts majority control of TikTok's US operations to American investors, while ByteDance retains a minority stake Instead of easing concerns, the move has sparked backlash from users wary of update privacy policies, data handling, and possible changes to content moderation. Report of technical issues and engagement drops have added to the distrust, fueling speculation online. As a result, alternative short-form video platforms are seeing increased interest from users looking for new options. So, as you can see, that there's been a lot of backlash from the users, which is what makes social media great. Is the users are kind of the ones in control. Like, obviously, we all know how the algorithm works. Is like you like a video, and then like if you see it again, you like it, and then you just kind of start seeing similar content to that. So hopefully they get that figured out, because that seems like it kind of sucks. We're not gonna get too much into the group who owns it, because obviously now if views and stuff like that are being monitored, we don't want our views to go down because of something silly. So, I mean, I think we all know who is really controlling TikTok. Like, if you close your eyes and you just think for a second of the certain things that are being censored on TikTok. Like, apparently, if you type in Epstein, it's like, gets censored. Like, it says, like, you can't say this. Let's show you. We just quickly Googled this. So, as of late January 26th, yes, there are widespread reports and user complaints that the name Epstein, referring to Jeffrey Epstein, has been censored or blocked on TikTok, particularly in direct messages, DMs within the United States. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things happening in the world at this moment. But let's get more into the group that owns it. So TikTok has announced a deal, obviously, which we have been saying. So the U.S. TikTok deal, a majority American board now owns and operates a separate entity controlling TikTok in the U.S. Backed by mostly U.S. investors, the newly established TikTok USDS joint venture LLC is governed by a board of 7 directors. TikTok's chief executive Xiao Zichu is among them, and its Chinese owner ByteDance will retain a 19.9% stake in the business. The content recommendation algorithm at the heart of TikTok, determining which videos show up on the app's For You feed, has been licensed by tech firm Oracle, headed by a Trump ally, Larry Ellison. Oracle already oversees TikTok users' data under previous arrangements set up over security concern called Project Texas. But the company will now secure more of the app, including by retraining and updating its recommendation algorithm based on U.S. users' data. TikTok says both the algorithm and the U.S. user data will be protected in Oracle's secure U.S. cloud environment. Yep, I'm sure that's just very safe and secure, and you guys should feel totally comfortable with them doing this. The deal may be done, but is likely to receive continued scrutiny. Some Democrats have already voiced concern that the ties between Trump and TikTok's news investor group could end up limiting what gets shared on the platform. America won't be any better off if a TikTok sale ends up with the company in the hands of Trump cronies backed by foreign funding, Democrat Senator Ron Wyden said in December ahead of the deal being finalized. Meanwhile, Senator Ed Markey reportedly said on Friday Congress should investigate the agreement, calling a lack of transparency and detail. And we don't. If you want to download a new app, you totally can. That's totally up to you. So, obviously, TikTok was very popular, and I went through a stage of getting to see conspiracy theory. It's not conspiracy theory, this is just my opinion of what's happened. So to me, the thing that I like about TikTok is it's like citizen journalism, and it's people are showing you like information that you might have not see. Like there's this teenager who lives in Palestine, and with all that stuff going on, he has kind of like done these little vlogs, like saying his life. I forget his name. I'll put it up here somewhere. I also had to do some research on it to find his channel, if it's still up and if he's still okay, of course. But yeah, so he was like doing citizen journalism, and now with this new TikTok group, if he continues to do that, his TikTok videos might not get as many views because of the current ownership group. So TikTok, I think when the whole thing about national security came out saying like they're stealing our information, I think it was because TikTok was exposing the truth of like the current state of the country when they did not want that to come out, because they had these plans brewing, and we're currently living in the effects of that. And I think that now in this day and age, with like the current election cycle and all that stuff coming up, and obviously for the next 3 years, but the previous 2 elections, a big part of getting younger voters is social media. Like, obviously, you know, certain commentators or like influencers can influence a large group of people on who to vote for. And if you control TikTok, as you know, if the Republican Party controls TikTok, they can push their stuff more, and that can influence more young people on why they should vote Republican. Whereas the other side videos are just going to be silenced because of the current ownership group if this deal continues to stand and go through. Like, because when the ICE incident happened, the previous one, obviously, it's sad to say that there's been more than one, but it's just sad. So, like, I was seeing all these videos of, like, people protesting, and, like, Minnesota had, like, the largest strike ever, like, and it was, like, negative 20 degrees outside, and everyone, like, left their job. Let's see, I'll show you guys a picture of that. It was called, like, the Ice Out Strike. And there's a lot of ice in Minnesota, literally snow, and there was thousands of, like, obviously there's the ice there because it's very cold there. But they were striking to get ice out. Like, they're like, get out of here. Like, which, obviously, if they weren't there would be so many problems. And there's a lot of theories out there that, like, Minnesota does not have a very large illegal immigrant population. I think I only saw it's like 130,000 people compared to some other states, like, closer to the border. Because if you're, like, coming over the border, like, how are you instantly getting to Minnesota? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, here's, like, the Ice Out protests. Like, the whole streets were filled. I wish I had, like, a aerial image of it so you could see other people. But, yeah, there's, like, so many people. And, yeah, we're going to show you guys that video quick. So, or not the video, but, yeah, so anyway, so they had this big protest. In Minneapolis to get the ICE people out, and then shortly after that there was another shooting, which is just very, very sad. I'm trying to find the number of illegal immigrants in Minnesota. I think it's only like 130,000, I think. I mean, Minnesota, like, I lived in Minnesota for another year. I lived in Minnesota for a number of years. So, yeah, so this is obviously from just a quick Google search. So, the January 2026 estimated number of undocumented immigrants in Minnesota is approximately 100,000. Recent reports indicate 133,790 illegal immigrants on ICE docket for the state, with 33,780 having final removal orders. Federal actions have recently increased in the area. But, like, compared to some other states like Texas, like down in the South, it's, like, ridiculous how much of a number it is. So obviously Texas 2.1 million is like the reported number, but we don't really know how true that is. But yeah, so like, why Minnesota? Like, why did they decide to go to Minnesota? You know what I'm saying? Because it is, guys, we're just trying not to get into it too much, but sometimes we have to, because Minnesota's like a blue state, and who is the current president? Someone in a red state. So Minnesota has like a target on its back. And I think, and there's a lot of Somalian people in Minnesota, obviously, but, like, I think maybe 95% of them are, like, naturally born U.S. citizens. Yeah, so this is the number that I was talking about. I think I talked about it last week, but I don't think I might have edited it out because I'm just going to save it. So the number, so look, around 95% of Somalians in Minnesota are U.S. citizens, with nearly 60 born in the U.S., and the vast majority of foreign-born population, around 87%, have been naturalized, making Minnesota's Somali community highly integrated and largely American citizens, despite some federal enforcement actions targeting immigrants. So, like, see, I mean, if you want to, you can do your own research. Like, I'm just here to spread some information, but if you want to, like, all this stuff is, like, people just hear stuff and they're like, oh, that sounds right, and they never do their own research, which is kind of like the effects of mass media and certain news platforms that kind of spit information out there, and you're like, you just trust them for some reason, and you're like, you know what, I don't need to do my own research. Gotta put the chapstick on, guys, it's dry out here. So yeah, they're like, everything that I say is usually my opinion based off things I've seen or just have read or watched a video on. But yeah, so always I would suggest always do your own research. And with TikTok being sold, I'm gonna monitor it to see if I still want to even have it on my phone because of certain aspects of the new ownership group. But yeah, TikTok is a great app, and it was great run while it lasted. Like all good things, they must come to an end, which is the expression. So TikTok sold to a new ownership group, and we're gonna kind of follow this and see what happens, the repercussions of it. And I mean, the number I put up earlier, obviously, of like already so many people have deleted it, which is just ridiculous. Like, and they're like, we don't care. We'll just the people who aren't deleting are the people who they want on there. Like, obviously, 150% people have deleted TikTok, which is just absolutely insane. It's crazy. Like, it's probably still top 5 most popular social media app, but now they're just ruining it because the government wants to control it. And even though we're suspected to believe that social media is like it's free, like we can post whatever we want, but now with the major corporations owning it and major corporations fund the politicians, they can now say, you know what, we're giving you all this money for your campaign, you gotta like throw us a bone or something and do us a favor. So that is what's happening. So if you want to keep TikTok, I suggest you do. Maybe like you can just fix the algorithm yourself and make sure that you turn your location off so that they cannot track you. But I mean, people track us all the time anyway. It's just the world we live in. Whether you take a picture or something or post something, like the location's on it and someone will find it. But this has just been an episode of me, Matt Benson, totally rambling. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that stuff like that. We got a lot of editing to do. Tune in next week when we have a guest on who is a member of the Ice Watch community program in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And hope you guys found this episode informative, entertaining, and I think it was a topic that mattered to me, so that's why I shared it with you guys. And this has been another edition of Matt's Matters with me, your host, Matt Benson. Make sure you guys stay safe out there, stay warm, help your friends. You gotta be careful out there. There's a lot of ice depending where you live, and not just ice on the ground, ice agents. So be careful, know your rights, everything like that, and keep an eye on your TikTok. Make sure it's acting right. If you're posting videos, get your friends to repost them, because if you're working hard on your content, it deserves to be seen and not censored. So this has been another episode of Matt's Matters. Tune in next week when we'll discover something that matters with me, Matt Benson. And love and peace always, guys. Peace.